Hi again. Now, after you've visualized and learned how to visualize your first structure chart and your first time chart, I would like to show you how to utilize TrueChart to visualize tables. And this table, I'm integrating a lot. So this will be heavy in terms of data and what to integrate. And I'll also show you how to integrate your first inline comments. So that means you will be able to comment inline afterwards. And I'm going to go into the details a bit later. So to achieve that, let's just initialize our TrueChart visual again, click on it, pull it a bit down, and now you should integrate the data you would like. In this example here, I'm using the city, but in general, what's the best use case for a table and the best use case for TrueChart using a table would be your digital P&L, for example, that you can integrate, that you can visualize, where you can use IBCS standards to make it easier to read and understand it, and also to add comments to it. I'm going to show you in this example how to do that. So we're integrating lots of measures. We're integrating a dimension, the city, just as an example. And then I'm going to show you step for step how to achieve that. So first of all, let's integrate the dimension, the city. And after that, let's integrate, first I want to see the previous year values, the actual values, maybe the forecast, in this case also the budget, the delta budget, and guess what? The delta budget in percent. And as always, I recommend to jump into the focus mode. So just click on it, make it full screen, and utilize all the space you're going to need for designing. In this case here, we want to design a table. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a table within TrueChart. As you can see right now, it's using a lot of space, but I'm going to come to that, how we can reduce the space and reduce the space taken by the visual and make it a bit smaller, scale it right, put some colors into it, and most important, put some measure definitions into it so that users that look at it know what's the actual, what's the budget and the forecast. But let's jump right into it. First thing, I would always recommend to start with the dimensions. So go into the data menu. As you can see here, you now have the scroll button here that you can utilize. And what I've not talked about, what you have might seen, is the rest. TrueChart always calculates an automatic rest that's reduced to 20, just to make sure that if you have 1 million rows, for example, within your visual, you can decide how many you would like to show. In this case, just to make an example and just to show you how you can use it, I want to show in the table just our top 5 cities, so the top 5 performing cities, and the rest should be calculated and summarized as a rest, because we should always know what's the data in total. So we want to have a total, we want to show the top 5 cities, and then we want to have the rest to make our data and our visual complete, because otherwise some data would be missing, right? So what you can do is you can just show, for example, Berlin, Zurich, Stuttgart, Munich, and Lausanne. I'm choosing 6 here because I wanna choose the top 5 and the rest. So we should integrate 6 as show only number right here. The target here should be the actual, because we want to do it by the performance in the actual within the year. And so we want to do entries, but you could also pull it down to percent if you would like that. I also said I want to add a total to it. So let's calculate that by the products. And I'm going to just name it cities here, because it's the total of the cities we are depicting. As you can see, everything will always be live visualized and represented. You can see that on the right side. So now you have integrated the rest right here, the cities, and the top 5 of your cities. So this is basically what we've done to the dimension. I think here we are finished. We could sort it again by, for example, by alphabet, but I would always like to sort it by the actual, what we're doing right here. After you've changed the measures and put some measure information into TrueChart, let's jump to the the dimension, let's jump to the measures. Click on that, and now you see the steps will always be repeating, at least in my case. You might do more, but I'm just gonna do the same things because those are the normal steps I'm using when I'm designing and visualizing within TrueChart for Power BI. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scale the previous year down to 1,000 to use less space. I'm gonna say we're walking here in the past. As you can see, it's gonna be a bit light gray right here. And that's it, we're done right here. The actual, I just have to scale right, so put it to 1,000. The forecast, also put it to 1,000. And the forecast we have to design because now we have another scenario. We have a forecasting scenario. And this will have impact on how we visualize it within TrueChart then. So let's make it a forecast. And you'll see that because we will be integrating headers into the table. So forecast is forecast. The budget, we're also going to scale down and also put a scenario to it. So we're right here. And now we're going to come to the delta. And the delta representation following IBCS is always that you should use for varieties, you should use red and green. This is a common thing actually, and I'm going to show you how you can do that in TrueChart. To do that, just click on the respective measure right here. We have a scaling of 1,000s again, because we want to make every measure the same. And for this case here, because we have a delta, you should make the base and the reference a delta. This might sound a bit complicated, but we're gonna resolve what the difference between base and reference in our e-learning. So I would like to invite you again, join the e-learning, look at it, and let us know what you think about it. In general, if you have any feedback, don't hesitate to tell us. We're always happy to serve you as our customers and improve our product. So now we've given TrueChart the information that this here is a delta. We're gonna do the same with the delta budget in percent. Here, the scaling, we're just adding, for example, we could just add, for example, decimals, but we could also scale to percent. So this will be the percentage, and I'm gonna also add some decimals, making it in the end easier to see and to understand the data we are depicting. Again, we're choosing the steps to make the base and the reference to the delta so that our visualization in the end will become red and green. So to do that, jump to the table editor. And now we're having a transition from the new user interface to the old user interface. In the future, what's coming next will be integrated within the new user interface. For the moment, don't let that stop you. The functions are the same. It's just another look and feel. But you'll see in the next version with TrueChart, with the updated version of TrueChart in the app source, this will become also the new user interface, making it easier to handle it. But for now, let's jump to the old interface. What you can do right here is you can choose how you would TrueChart to behave and to depict your table. So what I want to do right here is I want to integrate coloring. So I want to integrate headers into it. I want to integrate some bar charts to depict our values a bit better. And make, for example, the delta and the delta budget in percent, the delta budget and the delta budget in percent colored. So let's jump right to it. I'm going to start with the measures right now. So for the previous year, I would like to have the notation not just in the header, but in the not in the element, but in the header. And the header is the upper line. Kind of, you'll see in a second how that will change. The actual, I'm also gonna choose as a header because that's why we defined our scenarios. Also for the forecast, we want to have that hatched, and our budget, we want to have that outlined. For our delta budget and the delta budget in percent, we want to have it in the element. And what we want to have is we want to do it colored. So choose the base and make it colored. And I'm going to apply that and to show you how that turns out. And as you can see, after I clicked on apply, let me just close that window again. You can see what we've done now. We've integrated our scenarios within the headers. As you can see right here. So the previous year is in the light gray, the actual is dark, forecast is hatched, and the budget is outlined. And I wanted to integrate some coloring into the delta budget in percent. We also did that right here. What we now want to do is I want to integrate a bar chart into the actual. And maybe let's also integrate a bar chart into, or no, let's integrate just a bar chart into the delta budget, because I think that makes more sense. To do that, go again on right click on cell and content. Now gonna have to jump into the old UI again. And you can see right here, the notation will be the same in the new UI, show as. And if you click on show as for the delta budget as a bar chart and apply that, you will see it's integrated now as a visualization. You can actually do that for any column that you would like. So if you would like to have the actual within a bar chart, you could also integrate that here, or a needle chart or a line chart. Let's just do it a line chart right here. You can apply that. What you can see, what just happened is that TrueChart will always try to scale, or will always scale the information the same way. So there will be no visual difference between the delta budget and the actual, because it will be scaled on the same level. Kind of. I'm going to exclude that here again. So I'm going to just show the values here. So if you would like to change the description, for example, so that's the header, IBCS always would like to position the header to the right side. So let's do that as well, because that's something you can do pretty easily. Go to description and then go to the right side for the respective measures we would like to have it. I'm going to choose those here, and then maybe another thing that I could show you is how to exclude the dimension header. So now if you want to exclude the header of the dimension, so if you want to just make it blank, switch to dimensions, tick off the show header notification and just go and apply. It's going to be vanished. Now you're going to say, hey, that's taking up a lot of space. Let's reduce it a bit and go back to the report. And as you can see here, it is using a lot of space, and we do not need to do that. You can do that, but let's reduce that a bit. To do that, go back into the focus mode, right click on the cell, and then you have this table menu here. If you click on that, this is actually the new UI, but it will be integrated into the complete picture also in the next version. Here you can adjust the columns if you would like. So I'm going to choose right here, no automatic adjustment, because I want to reduce the space taken by the different columns. You would have, sometimes you need to try some things, so let's gonna fix those here. I'm gonna just type in 75 pixels. Let's see how that runs out. Go on OK, and you can see we just reduced the space taken by the table by a huge amount, because we do not need that space, right? We have the numbers, we have scaled it right. We're going to put that information into our title. So you should always include that if you're changing something to the scaling. As you can see, I just missed the delta budget in percent. Let's also pull that down to 75 pixels. Because the delta budget, we want to have a bit bigger, because we were depicting it as a bar chart. So after you've done that, you might be finished, but I told you I want to show you how to integrate inline commenting, because that's totally new to Power BI, and TrueChart is making it easy for controllers, for managers, for anyone who's working with data, who's working in Power BI, to add data points to it, to add comments to it, and to make those dashboards and reports even more insightful. So let's jump right to it, because this is all handled in TrueChart. If you go to data section for that, you have to add an internal TrueChart measure. It sounds more complicated than it is, because you just have to click on the green plus sign here. Then you can rename it, just name it comment. And we will have some major changes in the future to that. We will make the process even easier, even better to understand and reuse within your environment. The thing is, what you've downloaded is the non-service version. So everything will work. Everything will work just fine. You can utilize this here. You also can utilize the commenting that I'm going to show you, but this will not be written into an SQL server database. This will be just stored within your environment, within your custom visual. Be sure to remember that if you're utilizing it for a productive environment. It will work, but there's no user administration. You won't see who typed in the comment, and you won't be able to allow people or deny people to comment. But that's just a side comment. If you're interested into the enterprise version, just ask us, go to our website, contact us. We're happy to help, or reward you to one of our valued partners. So now that we've integrated the comment here, the comment measure, we don't have to do anything in this section. Let's just jump into the cell and into the table menu, kind of. We can see right here, the comment is not depicted yet because it doesn't contain data, right? So what you can do, you can choose from different options now. And before I do that, I want to show you the input here. The input section here is still in a light gray, because you can click on it. It's not clickable at the moment. After I change the measure I've created to comment, you'll see now I'm able to integrate it into the input section. I'm just gonna pull up the header right here because I just want to show it as the element. If you click on input, I won't go into the deep details, but this is where you define the keys that your comment will be saved to. So if you, for example, want to tie your data to a certain product group or a time frame, like the year or the month, you can integrate that right here. We have a section in our e-learning for that. So if you're interested in that, please join our e-learning. We will explain how you can create your own commenting keys, what you can do with it, and how it ultimately works within the TrueChart service environment, utilizing it for enterprise versions. But you can define right here the keys that your comments will be tied to. I'm not going to do that because we're going to have that in our e-learning. I'm going to just click on apply, because that will show you how the feature works and the value that can be generated from it. I'm going to go OK. And now you're going to say, hey, I would like to have more size on my commenting section. So you cannot only reduce the amount taken by the columns, but you can also add some space to it. Let's do that. If you remember, go to cell and table, go to the comment and fix it. I'm going to just fix it to 300 because I like huge commenting sections. Click on OK, and boom, you can see it right here. And let's see how that works out in the wild in our Power BI environment right here. Scale that a bit down, resize it. You can see TrueChart will always try to make the most out of it by still keeping the visualized representation the same. And now that's pretty easy, because now you can start to comment. You can say, for example, for Berlin, you see our delta budget is pretty low. You could ask a question, or you could make a comment, because maybe in Berlin, our customers switched from X to Y, for example. You can format that or just click on OK. In the end, when you're sharing your report, this will also be possible. This will also be visualized. And again, to not be able to input, you could either define that right here or click on here and just show text if you do not want to take an input. And that's it. Basically, what we've done is we've created a table with a dimension, added a rest to it, calculated the top 5 cities. We added a total to it. And in a few minutes, we integrated also headers. We integrated some visualizations into it, like the bar chart in the Delta budget. And the best thing is we added a commenting section to it. So it's as easy as that. Let me know what you think about it.